About 10 years ago, I did a seemingly simple club project that I made into an overcomplicated, miss the deadline, bad strategy of a build. The town of Newburgh Model Car Club does an annual build. Usually we all build the same kit, typically a new release. This time, someone came up with the idea that we'd each pull a year out of a hat and build a car appropriate to that year. I assumed it would go up to 1972 or so. I was really surprised when I pulled 1984, possibly not the most exciting year for cars. I considered a Bertona Corvette prototype or a World Rally Audi. But I really enjoy scratch building headers, and I enjoy the display of headers on a fenderless hot rod. Starting with headers in mind, I thought I'd build a hot rod with an Allison V12. Originally, the Allison V12 was a World War II airplane engine. They became very inexpensive after the war, sold as surplus. Hot rodders loved them. Car builder Jim Little was known for his use of Allison engines. Of course, Big Al, that 34 Ford. And he did the Fiat Topolino dragster, the one with the 4 Allison engines. So here's the deal. The Allison engine, even though it's a V12, it has 2 exhaust ports per cylinder, giving me a great opportunity to make some really wild headers. That was my goal. My thought was to build a hybrid, the idea being that the Allison motor is a generator, powers electric motors to put the power to the ground, and that's basically the same configuration as a diesel locomotive. I contacted Dave Burkett at Model King. He provided classic AMT Allison that we've known for years. I stripped the chrome, painted it black, kept it basically stock. Big supercharger in front, which is really cool. Lots of carburetors, and I put a Pro Stock style hood scoop on it. The Allison sends power to 4 net gain warp 13 motors. They would be the size of a beer keg in the real car. I machined them out of aluminum and added the parts and wiring necessary for detail. I like working on the lathe, and that was a lot of fun. The wheels I chose were from the Revell Pro Stock Thunderbird kit. I think they have a real nice industrial look that lent itself well to this, especially when they're finished in a brass tone with a maroon red trim around the edge. Working through this, I was developing almost a railroad locomotive theme. I wanted it to be black, and that being really, for the most part, the only color other than black. I started with 2 long, straight frame rails from an old Peterbilt kit, and I made a front axle out of brass. Just soldered it together, allowed me to pose the wheels and steer them a bit. To meet the rules, however loosely, I used a Chevy S10 pickup body, about a 1984. I rebranded it though as an GMC S15. I took the body and wanted to tuck it behind the Allison. I didn't want it to be big and overshadowing. So I chopped it, channeled it, narrowed it, and for all those seams of all the body shrinking I did, rather than welding it and smoothing it like on a classic custom, I left panels with rivets, so it was riveted together, in essence adding to that locomotive theme. And then I added some air horns to the roof. Okay, so back to where all this started, the headers. A great opportunity to just bend some solder. I used solder, I found just the right diameter. I started with the area down by the side pipes, brought them all tight together, and then worked out from there, just swirling them around, kind of making them equal length runners, but not following that rule. Just trying to do crazy stuff and looping them around. I think it was really successful. Still haven't gotten that sneaky header thing out of my system yet, but this was a ton of fun. The last thing I added on came from my friend Rick Hanmore. It was his suggestion. It's a cut down vintage GMC truck grill. It kind of has that cowcatcher feel. Back when I built it, I named it Bad Amplitude. I don't know where the name came from, but I think it still fits. For me, this was a really fun build and a great exercise in stretching the rules with just a little bit of that 1984 flavor. I hope you enjoyed this video. Check out our Patreon page. The link is in the description. Follow your muse wherever you may find it. May there always be a project on your bench. Thanks for watching.